what if I have one line? And that line means one note, one pitch. In this case, say C or Do, if you want. And if I want a singer to sing the note C, Do, I will write a dot right there. Now, if you wanted the singer to sing the note just above the C, so the D, the Re, then he would write the note just above the line, just touching the line, you see? Not across the line, but just a little bit above, touching the line. So you see, the dot went up and the pitch as well went up. Do, Re, that's a D. And if you wanted to go further up, to do C, D, E, then clearly there would be a need for another line. And he would write the note across the next line. So you see, as the dots go up, the music goes up. Do, Re, Mi, C, D, E. That's me. So how did our tune go? Do, Re, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, Do. Okay. So music goes up, Do, Re, Mi. Then it goes down to Re again. And you see, I write my dot just underneath, in between the lines now. Do, Re, Mi, Re. Back to my main note, Do. Back to Do. Do, Re, Mi, Re, Do. Now I need Ti, Do. The T is below the Do, so I write my dot a little bit below. That would be the T. And then back up to Do. So there you go. It all started with one line. Do, Re, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, Do. One main line has one note, the C, and then clearly the note a little bit above is the D, the note a little bit above is an E, and we need an extra line, and so on. As the music goes up, the dots go up. As the music goes down, the dots go down. That is roughly how it works, and clearly it wasn't long before the lines became 5. So for example, they had one main line and a few more notes below, a few more lines below, sorry, and a few lines above. And as you can see, if the dots go up this way, the music goes up, the pitches go up, they go to the higher notes. Do, 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 do. If the dots move down that way, the music goes down. The pitches go down. Do, 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 and so on. Another important thing that I want you to notice is that these dots, which represent notes and pitches, can either be drawn on the line or on any given line, you see, with the line cutting across the dot, like this, you see, or in between the lines, right in between the lines like that, you see. In between the lines, we say in the spaces. In the spaces in between the lines. That's what I want you to notice. They can either be drawn on the line or in the spaces. So far we have seen that notes and pitches can either go up or down, becoming higher notes or lower notes, and they can be drawn either on the lines or in the spaces. Now let's take it a step further. So we've just seen how we went from one line and one note to a system of 5 lines. So bear with me for a second. What happens if my line of music goes really beyond that? What I mean is, say that I have loads of notes. Oh, I ran out of lines. Look, I ran out of lines. I can draw another note there, just below the last line there. And what am I supposed to do if I want to go even lower than that? I could draw another line. Of course, I could draw another line. However, if I really need to go down, I would then end up with way too many lines to handle. So what happens is, if I want a note lower than that, I only draw a little section, a little snippet of a line, and draw my note there. And if I want to go further down, I draw just a little snippet of a line and draw the dot a little bit lower, just touching that. If I need to go lower, I will add another little snippet of a line, and so on. So I don't need to draw the whole line and to make my staff too big. We would run out of paper very soon otherwise. So, those extra little snippets of line which are used in that circumstance are called ledger lines. Ledger lines clearly work both ways. Whether you need a few extra notes below the staff, or if you need a few extra notes above the staff. They work in both instances. So if you need a couple of extra notes that are down here, or a couple of extra notes that are up here, the ledger lines will do the job. and so on. So, let's do a final recap before we move on. We started with one line only, which had one note assigned to it. Let's say C or Do. And if I want to sing or to express the idea of a Do, I draw a note right on the line to which the Do, the C, is assigned. If I want to go a little bit up, from C to D, I write my next note just above that line. Just above that line. Just touching the line, not across it. And that's back to the Do, so up and down again. If I want to go more up, I will need more lines. Do, Re, Mi. It's going up. And if I want to go further up, then I am gonna have to need more lines. And so on. That's how we ended up with having 5 lines. We saw that as a result, the notes can be drawn either on these lines, with the lines just going across them, or in between. The notes can either be on the line, the lines cutting across, or in between the lines, or in the spaces. And the most important notion of all is that if these dots on the stuff are moving up, it means that the pitches are going up, the notes are going up. If the dots are moving down, the pitches are going down. Going up, going down. So this is the one dimension that we looked at today, the direction of the pitch in the music and on the staff, with the note C as our first and fixed note. Also, we have seen how we can use little extra snippets of lines, which we call ledger lines, in case our melodic line, in case the music is going really up above the stuff, or really down below the stuff. And so on. Instead of drawing a whole extra line, we only draw a little portion of it just what we need. Otherwise, it would be definitely too big a staff, as you can see there. These guys are called ledger lines, the little extra snippets of lines. Okay, so far we have seen how notes going up and down on the staff means that the notes will go up and down on the piano. And we have used C as our fixed note. So again, we have seen up and down on the staff, up and down means up and down on the piano. Now we're going to get acquainted with one very important symbol that we use in reading notes. So far we have used C as our fixed note, and it was right in the middle, like that, right in the middle. Now that is something that we do use, but in piano we use a different symbol and a different note. Now, first of all, I want you to know where your middle C is on the piano, okay? Now, on this board, I'm gonna have to have middle C there, or sometimes there. I could have it there, sometimes we will move it. Anyway, I need you to know your middle C on your instrument, okay? Let's get acquainted with this. That, my friends, is the treble clef. The treble clef has a very important job. The treble clef has the job of assigning a certain note to a certain line. In this case, that will be the G above middle C. This line will be the G above middle C. So, let's say that, say our middle C is here. Our middle C is there. The G above middle C is this one. Okay? That's the note corresponding to the treble clef. And in piano, it will be assigned to this line. The second line from the bottom. That line, boys and girls, is G above middle C. As we've seen earlier, if my dots go up, let's write a dot just on the space above. That will be A. Let's write a dot on the line just above. That'll be B. G, A, B. Let's continue. Let's write a note on the space just above. C. If the dots go up, the music goes up. If the dots go down, the music goes down. Okay, now so far we have seen how the treble clef assigns G above middle C to the second line from the bottom of the staff. The second line from the bottom becomes G above middle C. So let's do it in red, and let's do it here. Now that's G above middle C. Middle C is here now, okay? Middle C is here. So why don't we work out as many notes as possible? That's G. Let's go a little bit below first. That's F. That's E. Just below the staff, just hanging on to the bottom of the staff, there is D, and this here with one ledger line and a dot across it would be middle C. Now, from G again, that's A, B, C, D, E into the next octave, F, just above the staff there is a G, then let's get to one ledger line and the dot across, which is A. Let's get as far as that. As you can see, as the dots go up, the pitches go up. And G above middle C is the note defined by the treble clef, which sets everything else. Take a good look at that. I would actually advise you to write down exactly what I did, because there is no better way to learn and memorize something than writing it down. Okay, one last thing. Let's now go back to that concept where we said that the notes can either be written on the line, you see, with the lines cutting across, or in between the lines. Let's do it here. On the spaces. So these are the lines, and these are the spaces. Okay? Either on the lines or on the spaces in between. There is a very famous formula to memorize this, which is used the world over. E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy deserves fun. To memorize the notes on the lines. And just face, F-A-C-E, face, to memorize the notes on the spaces. Doesn't get easier than that. Every good boy deserves fun, lines, face, the spaces. This brings about another interesting thing to notice. Please notice that. It's very useful then on the piano. The notes on the lines, well, on the piano, pretty much look like they skip one note. You see, it's every other key. When you're playing or singing the notes just on the lines, you're skipping the notes on the space. You see? Skipping one note. Just in the same way, if you're playing or singing the notes on the spaces, you're skipping the ones on the lines. Every other key. You skip one key. That was the treble clef, okay? Now the treble clef, we said, defines G above middle C. Let's say that middle C is back here, okay? Middle C, it's back here. Treble clef defines G above middle C. If you're at the piano, middle C is going to be just around the center of your body, more or less, which means that more often than not, but not all the time, the treble clef will be used for the right hand, or at least to show music on the right hand side of the piano. There is another symbol that we use for the low notes, which are clearly on the left hand side of the piano, and that is the bass clef. The job of the bass clef is to define another note. The job of the bass clef is to define F below middle C. The F below middle C. F below mid C. That's the bass clef. So let's have a look. This is middle C. That's our bass clef. And the F below middle C is the second line from the top of the staff. Second line from the top. That's F below middle C. Voila. That's the F below middle C. And once that's decided, the rest of the notes are decided too. Now, let's take that in isolation for a second. Let's move our middle C here. That's middle C. So this is F below middle C. F below middle C. Let's just draw the line. Make it clear. This is F below middle C. It's not the right one. That's the one. F below middle C. F, E, D, C below middle C. B, F below middle C, silly me, E and D. As you can see, we are venturing down below into the bass, into the low, very low notes. In fact, this is called the bass clef. Let's go the other way. G, A. The B is just sitting on top of the stuff, and middle C is the guy on above the stuff with one ledger line. Okay? Bass clef defines F below middle C, and the rest is laid out. Just to wrap up the bass clef as well, there is a quick formula also to remember the notes, to quickly learn the notes in the spaces and on the lines in the bass clef, which is, okay, notes on the lines: G, B, D, the F below middle C, and A. Good boys deserve fine apples. Famous, used all over the world. And for the notes on the spaces, we use all cows eat grass. That's the lines, that's the spaces. Okay? Lines: good boys deserve fine apples. And the spaces: all cows eat grass. I suggest you write this down. Finally, we get to the last bit of our lesson today, which is the grand stuff, in which we combine the treble clef and the bass clef. We're gonna have our middle C here. Middle C is gonna be here. So, treble clef defines G above middle C, and the bass clef defines the F below middle C. Okay? So let's do that quickly. That's the F below middle C. And let's do the G above middle C. be smudgy, but that's okay. G above middle C, that'll be it. Okay, so from middle C, which is right here in the middle of the grand staff, which is the same note for both the bass clef and the treble clef. Let's take it from the G. We'll go that way. G as G above middle C. That's F, E, D, middle C, and then clearly we have B, A, and we're in the bass clef domain now, G, F below middle C. We could carry on that way. We could carry on up above, A, B, C, D, E, and so on. And we could carry on that way also. Below the F, we have the E, and we have the D, and we run out of room. Okay? And anyway, you can see how it works. This is the grand staff, which is what we use to read piano scores. And I ran out of keys on my little keyboard. I suggest you write this down also and you study it. Now, I hope that this has been helpful. To practice this, please download the practice sheet. There's a good few notes. There's a good few notes on the staff with the answer line at the bottom. All you have to do is recognize the note and write down the name of the note. As an extra exercise, when you finish writing them all down, you could also find them on your piano keyboard. You could, with even just one finger, you could just find whatever note you found on the staff. You find it also on the piano keyboard, and you start relating these two things. And you always notice, as the dots go up, the music goes up. As the dots go down, the music goes down. The pitches go down. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks very much for watching the lesson. I hope this will help opening a window on this marvelous thing that music is and music theory is. In the meanwhile, download the practice sheet, complete them, and happy practice.